Ladies and gentlemen, welcoming you all to International Affairs, being broadcasted from the Dhaka's SATV's Gulshan studio. I welcome you all to the program. Before we step into the discussion today, let me introduce my panel. Here in the studio, I have Associate Professor Rashid Alam Bhuiya, hailing from Dhaka University. I welcome you on to the program. Alongside, we will have our geopolitical correspondent, Norman Floyd Barnes, joining us from Washington, District of Columbia. I want to begin today's discussions with Norman Floyd Barnes. As of yesterday, we were picking out of so many news coming out of the NATO summit. And of course, Donald Trump, very popular in his presidency for having commentary, sometimes having some blunders, reminding us of the last U.S. President, Joe Biden. While Joe Biden was ending his term, people would recognize sometimes he would be on sleep on duty, and this is due to old age. There is a comment that Donald Trump has most likely mistakenly said, referring to Iran as the Islamic Republic of Japan. However, that is not important. Important is that the NATO chief is stating that the attacks were absolutely necessary, as U.S. CENTCOM has struck over 80 targets during its latest strikes in Iran. On the other side, Iran has retaliated in its attack on U.S. assets in the region, specifically the Fifth Fleet of the U.S. command in Bahrain as well as in Kuwait. I want to begin today's discussion with Norman. What are some of the updates from your desk? A very good morning to you, Norman.
Good morning. As you stated, the updates are that the United States has enhanced its attacks on installations in Tehran, Iran, and Iran has the crossfire, and they have increased their attacks on the military facilities in Bahrain, Qatar, and Kuwait. So nothing really changed that much, except that we have more escalations in terms of shooting back and forth against each other, and nothing actually came out of the NATO summit, except that there was a reassurance alliance that they one attack on one country is attack on all of NATO. What that means, I really don't know. But President Trump, took the opportunity to take a jab at Spain again
Right.
about their lack of financially supporting this. And he also brought up again the subject of Greenland. Greenland should be part of the United States, and that causes, more discussions and more concern about exactly the United States actually roll with NATO. NATO is confirmed that they are concerned and they will support Ukraine with resources and whatever necessary to continue to fight with Russia. So that is what's happening in terms of the war front. And over here in the United States, in central Michigan, we having a flare up of a diarrhea, a watery diarrhea, a parasite infection. So right now we have about 1,000 people been affected by this. It's not a nationwide epidemic yet, but it's infection due to they feel like a vegetable was being tainted by water that had feces in it, and so it's a virus that can't be replicated in the laboratory because of the
Right.
nature of it. But they're dealing with that right now, and we'll see where that goes. And World Cup goes on, and we will monitor that. That is coming a political fiasco, because now they're talking
Right.
about the likelihood of some type of wrong or fraudulent activities by the officials, and that is now become a political issue instead of a what it was intended to be a athletic event that is veered and enjoyed by the people. So here again, the
Right.
people suffers.
Of course, a wonderful opening to our discussions from Norman Floyd Barnes, eloquently touching some of the issues from NATO as well as politics surrounding the World Cup. I believe the Federal Bureau of Investigation is on to something. I will discuss that issue later. Coming to the studio with Dr. Rashid Alambuya. You were hearing Norman Floyd Barnes in some of the things that he reciprocated. I will also mention that Donald Trump took to the social media screens yesterday and the big screen stating that the ceasefire and the interim agreement with Iran was over. That is as far as the confrontations lie. On the other side, the NATO summit would be focusing Ukraine and Russia would be focusing defense spending between all the member nations, and of course the host city Ankara of Turkey, and how Turkey would be a balancing act between the West and Asia, historically Constantinople, if not during the Byzantine time. I want to ask you how you're seeing this as Donald Trump's spat with Giorgia Meloni had happened a couple of days ago, the Italian PM, and he posted a picture showing the Italian Prime Minister looking up at him with the caption, "Restraining order needed." Of course, Norman Floyd Barnes had made comment regarding Spain. Donald Trump has stated that U.S. to cut off all kind of trade ties with Spain. This adds on to them not realizing why they should have supported fully with the Iran war. I want to get your remarks, how you're seeing them as of today.
Thank you so much for, I think, lots of development currently going on in the world scale. First, I will focus on the ceasefire thing, like
Please.
the ceasefire, as Donald Trump said, is nearly over. So I think it was over when it was signed, actually. For example, when Donald Trump sent J.D. Vance to sign a deal with Iranian official and the Switzerland, at the same time he sent Marco Rubio to sign a contrasting deal with Lebanese government, Israel, and because Iran from the very beginning they said ceasefire in Lebanon is the precondition of deal with USA. So at the moment it was signed, I think the ceasefire is broken in Lebanon front. So and that is the and the way J.D. Vance advanced and the way Marco Rubio curtail those progress by signing an exactly opposite spirit of the deal. I think from that very moment it was a fragile deal. And Israel has continued their aggression in the southern Lebanon, heart of the Lebanon. So for Iran, that is a primitive violation, the primary violation of the ceasefire deal. And then the event in the when the ships, the oil ships cross the
Strait of Hormuz.
Strait of Hormuz, then Iran fired some of them, those commercial ships. So I think, this is a fragile situation at the moment. We would hope that the memorandum of understanding that was signed, I think it will give some sort of stability at least for the next 60 days, and then Iran is agreed upon on a couple of issues, but I don't know why USA continues to. I think there is a huge Israeli lobby worked in the USA. They don't want this deal to happen, and for example, they treated this deal as a defeat for Donald Trump and his allies and his regime. So that's why probably some muddling of water has taken place from the Jewish lobbies, and they don't want this deals to continue to take place. And I think this will actually, the oil price has gone up again.
As soon as Donald Trump has said it was over. The oil price has jumped. It is nearing 90 now.
That will go again at $100 within a couple of days, I think, if this kind of escalation is going on. And then Trump will come into pressure once again, and then he will speak about the negotiation, come back to negotiation. So this is where the whole thing is it will not stop. It will go through the same pattern that we are seeing in the last 3 months. So and USA are actually unable to keep their promises, unable to, the earlier position is actually violated a couple of times. So I think it's a deep instability. On the issues of NATO, I think, some of the NATO partners is actually didn't cooperate with the USA in this their ongoing war in Iran. So and particularly Spain, who was actually very much opposite and against the Israeli aggression on Palestine and also unprovoked war, US unprovoked war on Iran. So that's why Donald Trump, I think this kind of remarks taken place against Spain, and Donald Trump is, within the NATO we have seen some sort of tussle going on. Some of the partners are not committing to enough fund for the NATO, and also the Greenland issues again coming up. So I think it will be after the Ukraine, Russia, then Iran, Israel, US, and the Greenland issue will be the next issues of conflict in the world scale. So we are actually moving towards earlier we have been in Cold War period. Now we are actually moving towards a deeply hot war period at the world scale, and it will not. I don't think so. It will not stop soon.
Of course, excellent remarks from Professor Rashida Lumbuya. I want to turn to Norman Floyd Burns once again. Thanking you, Norman, for bringing up the issue of Spain and, of course, regarding various issues to the war as we see it. We know for a fact that Pakistan has urged both United States and Iran to refrain from actions that may undermine regional peace and stability, throwing away any kind of mediation efforts between the two sides. There was a notion from you earlier on this week that during the funeral, you stated that the hostilities may once again resume. And to my surprise, it has, and it is taking a very bad shape, prompting mediating nations to step in once again. However, I want to get a know-how from you. What does this signal for economies from around the world? Strait of Hormuz is still in a confusion, a quagmire. There's going to be many terminology, words from the dictionary we can use, but we do not see a straightforward answer. How are you seeing these regional developments? Middle East, once a very nice place for doing business, UAE, Dubai, all of these nations combined had economic prosperity. Right now, that is being challenged because of regional turmoil between the nations, as we continuously see Israel violating Lebanon's sovereignty. How are you seeing these matters, Norman?
Yes, it's very, I hate to say predictable, but basically we're looking at a script, a scenario that's going on. If your intentions are not and I truly believe this. The intentions is not to end this conflict, is to increase the profits of certain certain interest group. Someone is making money. Someone's making a lot of money, profit from this conflict. We see peaks and valleys. We see a period where everything is spiking. The cost is going up. And then we see a period where there's a leveling off, a slowdown, and it drops down just a bit. These tankers, the three tankers, is significant. The attacks in the strait was because the content of these tankers carried gas, the necessary element for fertilizers. So by attacking these, just not destroying it, if there was a potential, this was what we call a surgical strike. If they wanted to destroy, it would have been a big explosion, a big problem there. But it was just enough attack, precisely enough to get the attention of the insurance underwriters to let them know that, hey, you're not safe, and we still have we still have a insight of what's going on, to the point where now the United States has a reason to not fulfill the ceasefire, do not fulfill the terms of the sanctions, to revoke the sanctions, and the people are still making money. There's someone out there profiting very well off of this up and down process going on. So now we're looking at food, fertilizers. I mentioned about that. We have this problem with the cost of food going up, the cost of everything is going to go up. So there's going to be a spike and an increase in the cost of food. Food going up, gasoline is going up. So the people who invest in this will make profits on this. The insurance companies will revoke the licenses for these vessels to move. So we're back in the same situation. Even though they say it's open, it's closed, but insurance say, hey, we're not going to insure the vessel. So that means the vessels do not move and we do not make money. So that means there's no movement in trade and commerce because the fear of it.
Right.
We are not talking about destruction, it's the fear. That is what we need to be looking at, focusing on what is control, who's controlling the outcome, who's controlling the market. President Trump mentioned he's no longer interested in a ceasefire. He's more interested in doing other things, and he don't think this deal is going to work. Well, that tells me that basically he has other plans, and he has now transferred his efforts into other money-making ideas, money-making things. He mentioned about Greenland, and that is to throw people off, say, hey, okay, Europe, we're still looking at this situation. NATO, you need to get your act together. We still got to deal with Ukraine and Russia, and we can focus in on China. China is coming up, been very quiet. The focus of the economic trade situation. Who gets through the strait right now? Who gets the benefit of this? So we have to look at the big picture. This is a game being played. People are being manipulated. People are losing their quality of life. There's some cases they're losing their life also. We still haven't addressed the issue with Venezuela. It got very quiet. All these people killed.
Yes.
They took over the country. And we still haven't seen any type of thing, but we still have over 40 to 50,000 people missing.
Right.
Missing. And there's no solution on that. And so it's got very quiet on the situation. So what is really going on in terms of how things are dealing with the world? People, again, the only thing I know is that the infrastructures are being attacked and the trade and commerce being attacked. This all equals one thing. People will have to suffer and pay. You have to pay in your quality. I'd like to mention the quality of your life is going to be shifted over the next 6 months, or you're going to lose your livelihood or your life. That is what's going on. So basically, while certain groups, certain entities will profit, we will see additional, my prediction, you will see additional new billionaires emerge in the next 6 months. So follow the money.
Right. Excellent remarks from Norman Floyd Barnes regarding the current global situation. Of course, mentioning Venezuela as well. Millions are still missing, I would say. There has been a news regarding it. Let me just read it out for everyone. The UN's humanitarian chief appealed for an additional $296 million to support earthquake survivors in Venezuela, warning of a $627 million funding gap 2 weeks after twin earthquakes struck the country. That is just coming out. That nation needs help, and unfortunately so, the human consciousness has not worked in the favor of Venezuela, as I would like to mention. It is time for a short commercial break. Afterwards, we will be discussing some of the issues pertaining to this global order. Ladies and gentlemen, do stay tuned for more on this very program. Hello and welcome to International Affairs, and my name is Shamsul Alam Panta.
I don't see an easy resolution to this because every slight deviation from the plan,
opening an open war conflict with them,
testing nuclear missiles,
Russia's announcement of these supposedly successful testing,
special and exclusive footage that is being played on SATV screen,
Really coming to terms with Hamas.
Damage estimated between this entire issue.
President Trump is expected to hold bilateral talks.
preserving biodiversity and tackling climate change.
We cannot protect the planet before we negotiate peace.
Where is it going? Is it understanding the needs of its people before the needs of this global world?
For China to come to agreement.
They will face better projects.
with President Xi of China and President Lee of South Korea.
Trump's White House that is in favor of these things.
Simply not enough action being taken to address the problem of fossil fuels.
What their plan initially is towards the Caribbean, a place that has been met with two types of disasters.
Bangladeshi students at the same level of opportunity internationally and domestically.
International Affairs. Watch every Sunday to Thursday at 2 p.m. only on SATV and SATV Digital. Hello and welcome to International Affairs, and my name is Shamsul Alam Pantha.
I don't see an easy resolution to this because every slight deviation from the plan
Opening an open war conflict with them.
testing nuclear missiles.
Russia's announcement of these supposedly successful testing
Special and exclusive footage that is being played on SATV's screen.
Really coming to terms with Hamas.
Damage estimated between this entire issue.
President Trump is expected to hold bilateral talks
Preserving biodiversity and tackling climate change.
We cannot protect the planet before we negotiate peace.
Where is it going? Is it understanding the needs of its people before the needs of this global world?
For China to come to agreement.
They will face better.
Welcoming our viewers back on International Affairs. In the studio, I have Associate Professor Rashid Alam Bhuiya as well as Norman Floyd Barnes joining us from Washington. I want to have a very short question towards Rashid Alam Bhuiya. As Norman was stating in his statement, follow the money. It's going to, that signifies that the economy must suffer once again, people will suffer once again due to the drastic decision making of several leaders from several countries. I just want to ask you, as these commercial vessels were moving fertilizer, as Norman stated, very important for us here in Bangladesh. We've had some shortcomings, some shortfalls in the fertilizer area. Some even stated that we might be facing an acute food crisis. So I want to get a remark from you before moving on to other issues, how you are analyzing the end of the ceasefire and what it means. Donald Trump is very adamant on getting the job done.
I think this is hugely frustrating for the global population as a whole. We were anticipated that Donald Trump earlier was committed to the ceasefire because of the midterm election is approaching. He is actually considering people perception. People is actually very much non-accepting his deal, his war with Iran, and most of the countries like the surveys conducted that the population of every country actually non-accepting his ongoing war in Iran. So his acceptance rate have fallen tremendously. But once again, as our another colleagues said, that it's all about like warmonger. Their interest is very much in there, and they are not actually considering the people's interest, the hazard, the hardship that people gonna face due to this ongoing war. So some of the people are actually benefiting, like the stock market volatility. Even Donald Trump has made more than $1 billion. Some news says that in the last 1 year because of this stock market volatility, and some his close allies actually getting benefited from this stock market crash and stock market sudden upheaval. So this is the thing, like some people are making money, and on the other hand the global people will gonna face the severe inflation. Particularly the oil price will rise again. In the last 2 weeks the price was reduced a bit, but now again nearly 5% increase in the yesterday. So I think this will actually, and also you said the fertilizer, access to fertilizer, some country needs this for food grown and food security, and that is severely curtailed of because our most of the resources is going to this war, but we are benefiting. We are shortage of oil, shortage of
with President Xi of China and President Lee of South Korea.
Trump's White House.
Climatic disaster is going on currently in many parts of the world. Venezuela is suffering. We haven't heard that China there is a massive rainfall is going on. So global community is suffering already due to these climatic events. We have already have lots of crop losses. And on top of that, this kind of war is totally made
is in favor of these things.
Simply not enough action being taken to address the problem of fossil fuels.
What their plan initially is towards the Caribbean, a place that has been met with two types of disasters.
Bangladeshi students at the same level of opportunity internationally and domestically.
International Affairs. Watch every Sunday to Thursday at 2 p.m. only on SATV and SATV Digital. So many games that have caused so much controversy as various claims are coming from the United States that the controversy is creating a report which was revealed by the Federal Bureau of Investigation have begun to look at financial operations of the Argentine Football Association in the United States. Of course, blamed of money laundering $250 million and more, reported by the Argentine newspaper La Nación, was quoted by the Fox Sports Mexico as well. It was headed by President Claudio Tapia, and there is a Florida-based company called Tor Prod Enter LLC, which look after the AFA's financial obligations abroad. I want to ask Norman Floyd Barnes, even the referee who was refereeing the game between Egypt and Argentina, has disappeared from social media according to various sources as well. I feel upsetting because for the Argentine fans, because for them it is another classical win by Messi and his 10-member squad. But on the other side, we see leaders, even the mayor of New York, stating that Egypt was robbed of the game. I want to get a commentary from Norman, how you are seeing these things, whether or not there are going to be future implications. Will the FIFA have a rematch of this very game? If not, let's also have a look at the upcoming France and Morocco game. All 5 referees are from Argentine backgrounds. How do you analyze this situation, Norman?
Well, once again, we see how the greed and profit interferes and takes away another promising, another thing that people enjoy. We are now seeing how the world works, this transitional world we live in. It's very ironic that we're talking about Argentina. As you notice, the United States, we hosting for the most part these games, but we also hosting something else. You go back and remember that our current administration provided a funding injection to Argentina. We gave them money. They had a failing economy, and we funded money with taxpayer dollars. And now we're seeing these fluctuations in who wins, who loses, judges, referees, Florida companies, all involved in this nasty game of conspiracy.
Welcome to International Affairs, and my name is Shamsalam Panta.
I don't see an easy resolution to this because every slight deviation from the plan,
Opening an open war conflict with them.
Testing nuclear missiles.
Russia's announcement of these supposedly successful testing.
Special and exclusive footage that is being played on SATV's screen.
Really coming to terms with Hamas.
Damage estimated between this entire issue.
President Trump is expected to hold bilateral talks.
Preserving biodiversity and tackling climate change.
We cannot protect the planet before we negotiate peace.
Where is it going? Is it understanding the needs of its people before the needs of this global world?
For China to come to agreement,
They will face better projects.
With President Xi of China and President Lee of South Korea.
Trump's White House that is in favor of these things.
simply not enough action being taken to address the problem of fossil fuels.
What their plan initially is towards the Caribbean, a place that has been met with two types of disasters.
Bangladeshi students at the same level of opportunity internationally and domestically.
International Affairs. Watch every Sunday to Thursday at 2 p.m. only on SATV and SATV Digital. Hello and welcome to International Affairs, and my name is Shamsul Alam Panta. Of course, as I make from Norman Floyd Barnes' statement, very excellent in covering these very issues, politics, fraud, money laundering, they all come hand in hand. While the tournament has been no stranger to the political spotlight of questionable integrity, experts say the lines between sports and politics have been blurred even further. According to Simon Chadwick, professor of Afro-Eurasian sport at the Emelon Business School, he said, I quote, "After the Balagan affair, who knows which decisions are legitimate and can be trusted and which can't?" He further went on to state that Trump and his Argentinian counterpart share a close relationship. Javier Milei is a regular feature at a pro-Trump political gatherings in the United States, and Donald Trump has described Argentina's far-right populist leader as his favorite president. Of course, this Professor Simon Chadwick also opinionated that the Egypt coach Hassan's ferocious support for Palestine at the World Cup could have prompted some officials to have built-in biases when making decisions. Let's try to simplify all of what I just read with Professor Rashid Alam Bhuiya. The game itself is, as people can compare into the past, in the history, the Romans had gladiator matches. It often ended with someone dying in the hands of the victor. But here, after civilization has turned, we are in a time of technological advances, and that can be utilized against anyone's will. VAR, virtual assisted, video assistant referee, very problematic as I feel for this World Cup. We go into the quarterfinals starting tomorrow. As I've mentioned, 5 Argentine referees in a match between France and Morocco. Historic ties between the two nations as well. How are you seeing all of these new findings that are coming in?
So it was actually named as the greatest show of art because of after the First World War and the Second World War, people were, struggling with the war, they were suffering. Then this spirit of brotherhood, spirit of good emotion can come together so that the friendship can among the countries, among the nation can be built. That was the very much spirit of once when the World Cup was introduced. But now the thing came into huge controversy, particularly this edition of World Cup. During the group stage, some countries were actually exploited, particularly with some decision of VAR. Iran was in 3 matches, Iran goal was denied. And then Senegal also severely, victimized by this VAR decision in the 125 minutes during the extra time of the world match. And then the most controversial event took place on the other day when Egypt and Argentina match was going on. And global supporters, global fan of the football, they actually was shocked what they seen in the television screen. So I think the whole thing is actually all about the money, as you say. We put lots of emotion in these matches, lots of emotion with the games, but actually it is actually intermingled and muddled by behind the curtain some interest groups who actually putting money in there. They are actually playing. They are playing with the people emotion. Like the other day, Egyptian nation was betrayed. And the whole world was so shocked with this event. So
12,000 miles away, the FIFA World Cup. 12 people dead in my country, Bangladesh.
And also,
how do you see it?
And we also, although we are saying it's the greatest show out of all, at the same time, the fire is going on in Gaza. The Egyptian people who are part of the Gaza peace plan, he was killed. So Lebanese people is dying. Venezuelan people are suffered from heaviest earthquake they're having at the moment. So I think all our emotion put into this World Cup at the behind of the other part of the world is actually people are suffering. I think it is their curse. The warmongers and the particularly Zionist operation that took place in the heart of the Middle East, actually we should have more focus on those issues rather than these bullshit games, I think. Yeah.
Of course, excellent remarks coming once again from Rashid Alam Bhuiya. Just want to mention a very popular quote coming from a Roman poet, Juvenal, mourning the decline of the Roman civic virtue. Historically, the Roman public possessed immense power to elect officials and command armies. However, the republic transitioned into an empire. Everyday citizens became passive and politically apathetic. And he famously wrote a quote that can be seen as of today as well. Bread and circuses is a famous phrase from his very satire. Give the masses bread and circuses and they will not care on who is in power and what is going to happen. It was a usual quote at chariot races and gladiator fights. Today, the very same can be seen in the World Cup as history progresses. Thanking Professor Rashid Alam Bhuiya for your time, your analysis regarding various worldwide issues and your patience on this very program, International Affairs. Thanking Norman Floyd Barnes for also joining in on this program from Washington, D.C. Let me give out a fact regarding 9th July 2026. It is World Fashion Day. It is a day that is celebrated every year to highlight the importance of the clothing industry and creativity. Various fashion lovers, designers, artists and fashion-related organizations do celebrate this day. With that being stated, I am signing out on International Affairs. I will be with you all on tomorrow's program with the latest updates.